Okay, welcome. It's Tuesday. Let's make the next few minutes count. Um, so I found myself in a very uh, typical situation that I'm sure many of you can relate to. I was in a interpersonal altercation of sorts, nothing crazy, but enough to get under my skin. And I realized the what I was not doing was this, embodying my values. And so what I mean with that is usually I find if I can slow myself down enough when someone's saying something that I vehemently disagree with or that I somehow find disagreeable, um, there's a part of my mind that kicks in and starts dispensing advice. Sometimes I make the mistake of articulating that advice out loud more often than not. So, because I have gotten better at that, more often than not, it's just an internal thing. And I'm sitting there and I notice my mind spinning on, like, well, if only you were a little more this or a little less that, if you were more patient, if you actually just shut up and listen to me for a second, right? That kind of stuff. So, embedded in there is some sense of I know what's important to me, and the fact that you're not doing it is upsetting to me. So the mind flips into this mode of dispensing advice. And I've found that the way out of it, or through it rather, is to start practicing what I'm preaching. So again, oftentimes this is a 100% an inside job. Like, I'm not saying any of this out loud, but I'm going through my motions internally, and if I can remember and drop back into this place where I start practicing what I'd like to preach, things become a whole lot better for me. So, this idea of well being being defined as our ability to consistently act in alignment with our values. So, when we're sitting there and someone's saying stuff that, where we want to tell them, hey, stop being so rude, well, I guess politeness or kindness is a value. And the question then is, how in this moment, as this person is saying what they're saying to me, can I embody the value of politeness or kindness? And we can do that for, pretty much uh, any of the values that I think most of us would lump into the positivity bucket. So compassion and joy and gratitude and so forth. So I thought today, let's take a few moments to see if we can flex that muscle, and there's an attention component to this, which is we have to in that moment be able to redirect our attention to the values that we want to embody, right? If we're not aware of them and we're just in reactivity mode, we're it's kind of impossible to do what I'm suggesting here. So the first step is to be able to slow down enough to become aware of the the, the mental chatter that is dispensing advice, and then take them, sort of flex the muscle and say, okay, well, what if I were behaving in the way that I want this other person to behave? What might that look like in this situation? So hope that makes sense, and let's practice. So let's start by closing our eyes. And as always, just making contact with the present moment, right here, right now. Life is pretty simple. I'm not discounting challenges or pain or struggles that we're having. If we can just focus attention on this moment right here, right now, where we're sitting together, there's an element of okayness that we can tap into. The body knows how to breathe. Heart knows how to pump blood. Belly and our gut know how to digest. we just get to relax right now. Just trust that that's all being taken care of. We can just drop into giving ourselves a break. Let's practice. Let's flex some positivity muscles. So bringing to mind a recent situation that you that maybe left you feeling a bit uncomfortable. Maybe there was a sense of conflict or disagreement that was charged with someone. To feel into that memory was being said, they behaving, you reacting, and get curious and see if you can identify the thing that they were doing that was upsetting to you. What was the suspect there's a value or two or three that through their actions or their words, they were somehow violating something that is sacred to you. It was their tone or the content of the words, their body language. It was felt impatient or unkind, your descriptors. And then notice the part of you that maybe said something out loud. And if you didn't say anything out loud, that was thinking what they should or shouldn't be doing. Like, what's the advice that you wanted to give them, or maybe even were giving them silently or out loud? It should be more something, less of something else. And here comes the humble and courageous part of this process is now turn that back towards self. So whatever advice you had for them about they should listen, they should not be screaming at you or be speaking so loudly, should be cutting you some slack, realize that they were misunderstanding, whatever it might be, turn that back towards self and ask yourself, how could I embody those very values that I'm wanting them to embody? How do I embody them in this situation, this interaction with them? Do I meet their impatience with patience, their aggressive tone with kindness? Probably looks and feels different than what you're expecting from them. But nonetheless, those are the values that connect with them. I believe that this whole experience will feel a whole lot better. And we can shift our attention to the world at large. So be it whatever's happening in our country, whatever's happening in other parts of the planet. Focus attention on what's the advice that you have for others. What is it that you want them to do differently? And turn that back on self. Ask self, okay, if that's what I want everyone else to be doing, how do I bring that to life? Do I embody that in this moment? Gandhi said, how do I can I be the change that I want? People shouldn't be so stuck in their ways and their views. They should listen more. They should listen to each other. So how do we become unstuck in our own ways, and how do we open up and listen more to others, to ourselves? Notice if there's any resistance to that, any yeah buts. I'll start doing that once they start changing their ways. And take a deep breath in. Slow exhale, just shaking off the memory of the altercation or the stress around this, whatever you might be feeling about the state of things on the planet. And hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale. Slow exhale through the mouth, relaxing the belly and the shoulders, the hands. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your eyes come on back. Um, yeah, the main thing here, I think the main takeaway is living in alignment with our values is very much an inside job. Oftentimes I have this desire for others to sort of align with how I view the world and what's important to me. And then I keep coming back to just lead by example, just role model it. So be the change that I want to see out there. And that was I think the core message for today. So hope that was helpful. Um, Take care, everyone. See you again soon.